Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Super Soul Farm, it is Wisdom of the Sages, your daily yoga podcast, with your host Raghunath and co-host and bestie and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York City, Kaustubha Das. Welcome to the show. Wisdom of the Sages is a daily study of yoga wisdom literature, focusing on the Srimad Bhagavatam. Fantastic for yoga teachers, fans of yoga culture, or anyone who wants to add spiritual direction and upgrade their life. And it's Makeover Monday. Makeover Monday. This is our thing that we do. Whatever happened last week is over. Makeover Monday is a day to start thinking who I am going to become this week. Explicitly write down some spiritual goals. Refer to that list every morning. And it's from doing these things on a regular basis, we create an attachment to them. And then we start to notice transformation. Welcome to Makeover Monday, guys. How are you, Kaustubha?
Doing good. Good to be here with you.
Good.
Happy
Mara,
Monday.
you good?
I'm good.
Good. If you want to, we are live on Zoom, but we're also on Apple Podcasts, etc. If you'd like to join our little secret Zoom society, you can email Mara. Or if you have questions, every Saturday we take questions for Question Day. You got to email Mara at wisdomofthesages108@gmail.com. And I will say, I appreciate people writing. It's getting a little overwhelming with our writing. We need a writing. There's a lot of ways information's coming in there. I'm trying to keep up with it all. How are you doing with your keeping up with communications, Kaustubha?
I'm working on it, but I'm enjoying it, so
It's right. It's very enjoyable.
Really appreciate everybody writing in.
Yeah, if you're out there and haven't written yet, check in with us. Let us know who you are, especially if you're one of those others that are out there and just like floating around. We don't know you exist. The Zoom people, we all know you by name now. You got anything you want to make over for Makeover Monday this week, Kaustubha?
Well, as you're going through it, I was thinking this Makeover Monday, I've never really participated in it.
Well, what do you want to do? How do you want to upgrade? You're already pretty upgraded.
Nah.
And I thought, well, no. I think that's part of like having a sadhana. Once you start to lock into a sadhana, you don't have to go all over the place. You just go deeper and deeper into that sadhana. But for some of us, we have to start thinking, well, you know what? I got to like a little refine my diet even. I've got to upgrade my diet. My diet is going to help my spiritual path. My physical health is going to help my spiritual path. Maybe I'm criticizing too much. Maybe this week I'm just going to absolutely cut that bad habit out of my life. It's affecting my spiritual path. And I'm going to write it down, and then I'm going to refer to that list each morning. So I think maybe you've just had this spiritual side of going for so long that I'm not critical of people. I'm not eating. I see you. Yeah, you're on a Khichdi cleanse right now. You're very regulated in your diet. You do CrossFit every day. I think that I just made that up.
Okay. There's
what do you
plenty.
Think? You know what I'm talking about? I think part of in your Bhakti thing, you've done this. This is your whole life.
Yeah, but no, there's so many habits and so many. Oh, it's endless the ways that I could improve myself if I focused on it. So maybe I should pick up some from Makeover Monday. Let's see.
What do you
I'm a
think?
procrastinator. I got a lot of things I got to work on.
What do you do wrong?
You're just saying that that I do all kinds. You create this. This is just a thing that you create, like for the show. Like Kaustubha was perfect or something like that.
Mara, what are you going to do for Makeover Monday? What do you got to make over?
Everything.
Come on, Mara. Come on. Mara's one of these persons too. There's people that drive me insane. Can I tell you about it? There's people that drive me insane. Like I'm really working hard. I'm trying to spread this philosophy of bhakti, but then they get into it and they're more evolved than you. This drives me crazy. It's they come into this stuff with so much good karma and they're not dented so much and it's sort of like, I have to catch up to these people that I get into it. That drives me crazy. I'm like in the mud, man. My wheels are stuck in the mud. Help me out here. Dented can. Let's get into the Bhagavatam.
Let's do it.
Where is we?
We's at text 20 in chapter 11 of Canto 1.
Oh, text 20. I have everything I'm supposed to have open on my screen today, except that. What do you think about that, Kaustubha?
Pull it up.
Why don't you read?
Want me to read it? We got to do our prayers.
Well, yeah,
Do the
let's read the
invocation.
prayer. Okay. Text 20, chapter 11, right?
Yeah, but we're going to do the invocation there.
Yeah. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim yasam yatotayam dudiraye. Screw that. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the personality of Godhead Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, and to Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author.
I was going to say, don't forget it.
Don't forget the author.
Vyasadeva.
Nasta prayeshva badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service to the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Om Gyanatamandasya Gyananjanasilakaya Chaksurun Madatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Kaustubha, just to keep this non-perfunctory, like we're just going through rituals of mantras, let me ask you, before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, what are we talking about? Conquest what? What are we here to conquest in this life?
You know, I would have an immediate thought about that. But, you know, we could always check out what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says about that. I wonder if he mentions it. My immediate thought would be like the conquest over birth and death, you know, the conquest over.
Sort of what came to mind too. Conquest over birth and death.
What's the exact text number?
Of
Canto
that
1,
text?
chapter 2.
I don't know.
Oh, you don't have it listed there when you're reading it?
I just copied it and pasted it on my notes.
All right. Well, you go ahead. Let me see if I can pull that up, and you can go ahead.
Where you said in the Srimad Bhagavatam was the very means of a conquest. One should Yeah. Mara, what would you say? You seem to be learned. Didn't they teach you the Bhagavatam in private school there?
Surprisingly, they didn't.
What private school did you go to?
Emma Willard.
Emma Willard. In Troy, all right.
Troy, New York.
It's going to take me a while to pull this up.
All right,
so.
all right. It's okay. Well, let's dive in here. Expert dramatists, artists, dancers, singers, historians, genealogists, and learned speakers all gave their respective contributions, being inspired by the superhuman pastimes of the Lord. Thus they proceeded on and on. Text 21. Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead, approached them and offered due honor and respect to each other, respect to each and every one of the friends, relatives, citizens, and all others who came to receive and welcome him.
Want to read the commentary on that?
Sure. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is neither impersonal nor inert object unable to reciprocate the feelings of his devotees. I love this. He's not an inert object or unable to reciprocate the feelings.
Or impersonal.
Or impersonal. I mean, he is impersonal and personal. That's what makes him absolute.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, I think it was like charming how we posted that video on the Discord thread about for the Patreon group yesterday about Ruth Meany. We had a guest. If you weren't here yesterday, we had this great guest, Ruth Meany, and what a wonderful interview that was.
It really was. I really so much enjoyed speaking with her.
I got so much positive feedback from people, and she's such a wonderful, deep, sweet lady. But then they posted this video of her. Did you see that from the 1970s on the David Susskind show?
I didn't watch the whole video this time, but I did watch the first couple minutes of it.
They seemed completely brainwashed.
She was.
Now I know why everyone says we're brainwashed. They're like, "Hi, my name is." I can't remember what their names were, and they're like, "This means that." I was like, "Oh my God, what must have the world thought of these people?" They came in with shaven heads and outfits on and robes, and they
a
were
lot
all
of them thought they were brainwashed.
Yeah. But they were now looking back at it, it's sort of funny, but yeah.
But at the same time, is that all you saw, or did you? I mean,
I saw young people who did we want a quick transformation, right this moment, and they just I saw intense focus and dedication.
Yeah, that's what I saw too. Kind of purity there. I saw.
It's a type of purity meets a little bit of brainwashing. But I don't mean that even in a bad way. It's just sort of because you can't fake transformation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you can dive into things feet first. So I think, and I think that's sort of the story of the beginning of the Krishna movement back then. People, let's just dive into this. And they're dead serious about it, and they're focused. And when you act in a really focused way, even Prabhupada would say things like, they're all pure devotees. Not that meaning they've become liberated, they've got rid of all bad qualities, but because they're following seriously. I'm walking in the shower. That means I'm clean. I'm on the plane to LA. Basically, that means I'm in LA. So, but in that, it did have an appearance of a little brainwashed.
I just look at it as these are.
What? You're just nicer than me.
But just hear me out. That they were all young.
I mean, they look like they were 17 years old, 19 years old.
Yeah, and it was a brand new thing, and they were just diving into it with complete dedication. And then you get thrown on television. It's you don't know very much, and you don't, but you're just doing the best you can to kind of present it well.
You know what?
Yeah,
that might have been offensive. Is that offensive?
No.
All right. I mean,
any
I
case,
didn't mean in an offensive way, but
I thought there's a beauty in it that I saw too. It was. Yeah, and I think in Ruth Meany, she was just so kind of just she just seemed so happy. That's what I liked about it.
Well, I think that an initial thing when a person I can speak for myself and probably for you, when you fully cut your ties with the material world and say, I'm moving into the ashram, there's a type of deep happiness you get.
Yeah.
Because you're just not worried about the things of this world anymore. You're almost
found it.
What?
You're I found it.
Yep, it is. And some of it's based in sort of reality. Some of it's based in a happiness from the mode of passion too, I'm sure. But there is a type of a release, an instant relief from material distress. And that's one of the symptoms of surrender, is that relief. What's that from the Nectar of Devotion? One of the symptoms of bhakti is a relief from material, kleshagni.
Kleshagni burns up the kleshas.
Burns up the kleshas, the distress in this. Anyway, it was a great weekend, and Saturday was we took a day off, our first day off in 75 days. Did anybody else feel completely lost that day without their morning ritual of yeah, me too, Mahesh. I felt lost. Hear the word yata vidhi, or it just as it behooves, is significant. He reciprocates just as it behooves with different types of admirers and devotees. Of course, the pure devotees are of one type only, because they have no other object for service but the Lord. And therefore the Lord also reciprocates with such pure devotees just as it behooves. Namely, he is always attentive to all the matters of his pure devotees. There are others who designate him as impersonal, and so the Lord also does not take any personal interest. Oh, that's interesting.
He's reciprocating as you approach him.
So you have desire to worship in an impersonal way. Bhagawan takes no personal interest in you. He'll just give you the joy of Brahman, but not actually reciprocate. Would that be a reciprocation? Well, that's it.
No, that's just reciprocation. He won't, if you approach him impersonally, then he'll reciprocate impersonally. If you approach him personally, he'll reciprocate personally.
Interesting. He is always I tell you, I always get something new out of these purports. Even if you've read the same purport a million times.
That's true.
He is always attentive to all the matters of his pure devotees. There are others who designate him as impersonal. And so the Lord also does not take any personal interests. He satisfies everyone in terms of what development of spiritual consciousness, and a sample of such reciprocation is exhibited here with different welcomers.
What Bhagavad Gita verse does this remind you of, Raghu?
Tejam satata yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam.
That's not what I was thinking. It's a beautiful verse about reciprocating accordingly.
Give me a hint. What are you thinking? Give me a hint into your genius.
Well, I just did.
Why don't you give me such a hint that you're practically telling me it?
It's in the 4th chapter. Ye yatamam prapadyante.
Ye yatamam prapadyate tam sataiva bhajamyaham.
Mama vartmanu vartante. Manusha partha sarvashaha.
As they surrender, I reward accordingly.
Yeah,
that's a great verse, isn't it?
It is.
It's really true. As you surrender, Krishna reward. You can really see this when people really get into bhakti. You know what? I'm totally into this. And then all of a sudden, once they make that declaration of their spiritual identity, I'm a spirit soul. I thought it was a man. I thought it was a woman. I thought it was a Democrat, a Republican. I thought it was, whatever it was, whatever you're declaring yourself, when you say that is over, I'm a spiritual being, I'm on a spiritual path, all of a sudden magic happens. That's what I found in my life, in lives of the students. They start to find a book that's been on their shelf for 10 years they never looked at. They start to find a person that's been in their life that lives right next door to them or around the corner from them. They start to find a community. They start to find a podcast, something that is directly reciprocating. And the interesting thing is Krishna was always there. He was always that book sitting on that shelf, but he was waiting for us to shift our vision, shift our paradigm,
and then
wear the lenses.
Yeah, and then he reciprocates accordingly. See, that's what I'm saying about that video with the David Susskind show. Is like there was magic going on in all of their lives, like in some big way. But I couldn't
see it. Is that what you're saying?
No, I wasn't commenting on you. I was just saying that there's a lot of magic going on in their lives. Now they're young, they're kind of naive in certain ways, right? They're kind of all new at this, so they're not necessarily skilled at presenting it to a television audience. They may not even recognize the need to be particularly skilled at it, right? Because they're just enthusiastic and all this magic is going on in their lives. And then you pop them up, and it kind of looks kind of brainwashed or whatever. But just really sincere people. We know quite a few of them, right?
Yeah, well, like Yogeshwar Prabhu was on there. He was on our show.
Bhardraj Prabhu, Ruth Meany, of course. Jadwaita Swami was there. Who else was there?
Jadwaita Swami was great. Bhagavan was there.
Bhagavan. I've never met him. Have you met him?
Yeah, I met him.
Actually, I may have met him once or something. I've seen him
as kids. Yeah.
Yeah.
All very interesting people. What do you think of The Secret, Kaustubha?
I know absolutely nothing about that secret, really.
The power of intention.
I mean, if the theory.
I mean, I'm not asking you to just give me your commentary on the movie.
I haven't seen the movie and I haven't read the book or anything like that. But if the theory is, and I don't know if it is, but if the theory is that like whatever you set your mind to, it happens or something like that, is that?
Yeah, there's when you focus on it, you'll get it. The problem is you're not focusing on it, and then it will reciprocate, the law of attraction. I find it's true in bhakti.
How so?
Well, if you're very focused on your bhakti manifests to the degree you enter into your spiritual identity and claim your spiritual relevance.
It's hardly a secret that like things manifest more when you focus on them or something like that, right? Is that the secret?
I guess that's the secret. I guess it's not such a secret, is it? But I think in the material world, people can do that as well. But I still think that you run into some bumps with your karma as well. you might desire something, but your karma may not allow it. But if you desire Krishna, Krishna's right there.
Well, okay.
That's secret. That's the real secret.
That's the secret. That's the real secret.
That's the real secret. They're trying to push some fake secret on us.
Let's read this 411. Okay. This is Bhagavad Gita.
Was that a very nice way to say, can we continue on? Stop
No,
chasing squirrels.
You're everything I'm saying. You're like focusing it on you. I'm just flowing, Raghu.
I'm just
flow
paranoid.
with me here. Yeah,
I should be pronoic, and I'm paranoid.
Exactly. Switch over to pronoia.
Okay.
And because this verse, I don't know if Prabhupada was necessarily alluding to this verse, but it certainly reminded me of this verse. So Bhagavad Gita 4:11, Ye yata mam prapadyante, tam sataiva bhajamyaham. Mamavart manuvartante manusha partha sarvasraha. As all surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. I reciprocate accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Pratha. So this is Prabhupada's commentary on it. He says, everyone is searching for Krishna in the different aspects of his manifestation. So he's saying, even if you don't realize it, you're still searching for, what are you searching for? You're searching for happiness. Well, Krishna is a source of happiness. You're searching for, this, so he comes out by saying, everyone is searching for Krishna in the different aspects of his manifestations. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is partially realized in his impersonal Brahma Jyotir effulgence. So there's that impersonal aspect, energy of his. And if you realize that energy, you've realized him partially, right? So he's partially realized in his impersonal Brahma Jyotir effulgence. And as the all-pervading supersoul, that's another way he can be realized, as the all-pervading supersoul dwelling within everything, including the particles of atoms. So those are two ways that one can partially realize God. And if you approach him on that level, then you'll know him on that level. But Krishna is fully realized only by his pure devotees. That means the person Krishna. Consequently, Krishna is the object of everyone's realization, and thus anyone and everyone is satisfied according to one's desire to have him. In the transcendental world also. So he's saying, okay, like if I approach Krishna impersonally, I may realize Krishna's impersonal energy. And if I approach Krishna within my heart, I may know him as the super soul within the heart. And if I approach him as a person, like for instance, Raghunath might approach him as
Sweet baby Krishna,
sweet baby Krishna.
Baby.
Then
Little baby, little 8 pound,
little 8 pound 6 ounce Krishna.
ounce.
Then he will reciprocate with you on the personal level and reveal himself in that way to you. And then he says, so that's one way. Then he goes into then within that personal realization, there's varieties there too, and he'll reciprocate according to that. In the transcendental world also, Krishna reciprocates with his pure devotees in the transcendental attitude, just as the devotee wants him. In the transcendental attitude, in the transcendental flavor that you approach him with. If you approach him as a friend, etc. So he says, one devotee may want Krishna as the supreme master, another as his personal friend, another as his son, and still another as his lover. Krishna rewards all the devotees equally according to their different intensities of love for him.
Should I be priming myself for this relationship? Should I be like just focusing on little Krishna pictures? Should I just be focusing on Krishna? Or if I'm a lover, Krishna, you're so beautiful when I'm chanting. Do we prime ourselves, or does it just pop in? Like, he's my lover. I thought he was my friend. He's my lover. Like, how does that work? And no one's ever answered me that question well.
Well,
there's a lot of questions I get answered. I never heard a good one for that.
You want an answer?
Yeah.
The answer to that question is that there within the Gaudiya Vaishnava lineage,
There's the lineage that we're in, which, by the way, you guys are officially in it now because you're listening to us. Welcome to the lineage.
Okay. There is a history of a valid path wherein a guru would instruct their disciple to begin to meditate like that in great detail.
On a particular form, like in a particular relationship, you're saying?
Yeah, and
Like
in
you'd go, Jeff Eisenberg. Okay, you're a father of Krishna, like that. He'd say that.
yeah, like
Okay,
that.
Jeff, you got it. That was it. We mystically gave it to you right now.
And even there were like quite detailed, description of what you should be meditating on. But
Like that's their whole meditation. But those people have to like immerse their day in that. It's like a full-on sadhu lifestyle.
Yeah, for a real complete
It's not for a
renunciate.
person who's got to go to the office at 11 and then pick up the kids from soccer at 6.
True. Yeah.
Then meditate on your swaroop at 7.
Yeah, it's for a person that's thrown away all their clothes and picked up some rags on the side of the street and is now living.
I think Jeff's ready for that. He's going to live on the beach and just meditating on his eternal form all day.
But all that being said, really important teachers in the lineage began to teach not to stress this, to stress what making the there's a whole history to it. But let's say the very important teachers in our lineage, particularly the recent ones, said no, it's the holy name. Just chant this very purely. Work on and what do we have to work on to chant? In other words, here's the object of your meditation: the name. All of that spiritual information is going to be revealed to you through the name, because the name is non-different from Krishna. When your mind becomes purely and deeply absorbed in meditation on that name, everything will be revealed to you. You don't have to do anything on your own. It'll come to you. But then one says, well, what do I need to do to be able to purely chant that name? And then I have to look into my entire lifestyle, right? I can't. If my mind's going to be peaceful enough and pure enough to absorb deeply, I need to stop offending people. I need to have a certain type of faith. You can go down the list. And so therefore it becomes a holistic practice of absorbing the mind in the name. And through that, you just allow the name to reveal everything that's meant to be revealed.
Okay. So I can see that. I can see an American thing where we want to jump over those basic steps. We want to figure out exactly what I am right now in relationship to Krishna. And then I want to get that detailed information on that type of meditation.
Yeah. Well,
but we can't even do the ABCs.
We can, and therefore, like for instance, within our lineage, the love of the Gopis is particularly exalted, right?
Yeah.
And it's said that many of our great teachers in their spiritual form, they are like these Gopis. And so someone may say, oh, I want to focus on that. Right. Let me especially focus on that and begin to prepare myself for that in a sense. And what Bhakti-vinod Thakur wrote, right? He was a absolutely
great master, incredible, prolific writer, songwriter,
deeply realized soul.
And in the world, he was like a high court judge.
Yeah. So he said, if you want to understand the Madhurya Leela, those romantic pastimes of Krishna, then absorb your, you see, because there's these 5 rasas, right? There's Dasya rasa, which is the rasa of servitude, like a servant to a master. And then there's the love of friends. There's the love of the parental love.
All right. So we got to, we might have to take this back 3 steps.
Okay.
Because this is pretty esoteric stuff.
Yeah.
The idea when people say, love God, your higher power, connection with your higher power, that might be what we're coming into the show or the podcast listening to. In Bhakti tradition, it says that. But then it's going to go into nuanced concepts of love, where you can, and in particular Krishna Bhakti, where the form of your higher power is Krishna. Then there's nuanced ways to approach Krishna. And that's what Kaustubha is speaking about, these 5 different types of rasas or relationships. Okay.
Okay. And let's even dial back just a bit more to exactly what we just read in this commentary. So what's being said is that Krishna reciprocates with you according to how you approach. So if I simply want the impersonal energy of God, then that's there. And if I want to realize God in my heart, then I can be granted that and develop that relationship. But then if I want to know God as a person, then it can be in these varieties of ways called rasas, right? These primary rasas, they're called primary flavors, you could say. And so one of them is called dasya rasa, which means the love that a servant has to a master. You know, the love that you have for someone where in that relationship, it's clear that they're the superior and you're the inferior in a sense, but not inferior in a degrading way or anything like that. But in other words, there's a certain respect that's going in a particular direction. Like, just like someone may love their parent or their grandparent, or someone may love a great teacher. If anyone's had that experience where they have someone that's like a mentor or a teacher, then part of the beauty in the relationship is that one is the junior and one is the senior. And there's a flavor in that, a certain type of affection, a certain type of respect. So that's called dasya rasa. And then in those other rasas, like in the friendship, no, there is no one's superior or one's it's like we're equals. And in the love that a parent has for a child, that you actually feel superior to the child. Like, I need to provide for them. I need to protect them. I need to instruct them. So in any case, what Bhakti-yogi Thakur was saying is, if you want to understand that Madhurya Leela, that the love of Radha and Krishna, and the Gopis, that most intense, sacred type of divine love, then worship Sri Chaitanya in dasya rasa, or serve Sri Chaitanya in dasya rasa, which means Krishna comes as Sri Chaitanya 500 years ago to teach bhakti. And he does it by trying to share it with others and practicing it very strictly. So then serve him in the mood of I'm your servant. And eventually that very intimate love of the Gopis will be revealed to you.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah, and don't jump to it directly, or you're very likely to misunderstand it. And rather than purify yourself, and this is what we're seeing, that within the lineage, and within Bengal, we could say, like a lot of people, because there's an erotic element to it, and it becomes very attractive to people, and then without any...
What's so erotic about I want an amorous pastime with Krishna and the cowherd girls? Yeah. What's so erotic about that in a grove?
Yes, right. So therefore, it has potential for to be entirely misunderstood and approached in a way that's entirely impure. So therefore, great teachers like Bhakti-yogi Thakur, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, they said, don't try to meditate on that directly. Meditate on being a good servant. Serve others, serve God, and serve others selflessly. Chant the holy name purely, and all of that will be revealed in time. And it's a incredibly important instructions.
It was interesting. I was so naive as a brahmachari when I always you read these stories in the Krishna book, and then Krishna enjoyed his love sports. And I always thought, oh, that's fun. They're enjoying some love sports. I never
You okay? He's losing it again. He's like,
I never thought of it like they're doing I just like, oh, they're sporting. We're sporting, whatever that means. Cricket? I don't know. They're loving cricket.
but it is important that we approach that with a type of reverence, with a real type of reverence.
Back to this original point, though. So there is a relationship we have. It will be revealed to our going through the alphabet. Learn A, learn B, learn C. Yeah. If you try to jump over and you're not ready for it, you can bench press 500 pounds. You got to work up to it. Don't be silly. It can happen. So if you want to really dive into this stuff, and we've seen too, Kaustubha and myself have seen people who are just like, they move into an ashram, they think, I'm very advanced, I'm a Paramahamsa, and they artificially try to be something they're not, and it doesn't last. It doesn't last.
There's a term, sahajya, and literally like sahajya means like the easy way or something, the easy path. But Prabhupada, this term is used, as a, as a.
I don't think it's a pejorative though. I think it's actually a lineage.
Well, it's used in different ways by different people, but within our lineage,
we're not so impressed by it. Yeah.
Well, the idea is it's taking it cheaply. is taking the most sacred thing and taking it very cheaply. So you used the example of like bench pressing or something like that, which I can understand that, but actually, if we go back to what Ruth Meany Devi was saying yesterday, she was really making this point that this bhakti, it descends. It's not that we climb up to it, but we're really trying to make ourselves pure and humble, and then it comes down to you, right? It's not something that we build our muscles and then we conquer it, but it descends.
Okay.
And so really what we're trying to become is kind, compassionate, merciful, respectful to every living being, tolerant.
This is the threshold to get in there.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, actually, that brings us to another. You see, those details of that rasa that one might meditate on, and I said, like previously, there were examples of this in our lineage where someone would meditate on all the details of what I am in the spiritual world. What's the word? It was called the Siddha Pranali. Okay, like the way to that perfection in the spiritual realm. And
the guru gives you exactly the information of who you are, what you do in relationship to God, and instructions on how to act like that. And the guru gives it even in your junior stage.
So what Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, this is so important.
That is our grandfather guru.
No, our great-grandfather.
Our great-grandfather guru.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So he said that our Siddha Pranali is Trinadapi Sunichena Tador Iva Suhishnuna Amanena Manadena Kirtanaya Sadahari. That it's to be more tolerant than a tree, to be more humble than a blade of grass. And in that state, deep Kirtanaya Sadahari, become deeply absorbed in Kirtan, become deeply absorbed in the chanting of the holy name, right? He said, that is our Siddha Pranali. If we focus on that, everything will be revealed like that. So that means becoming a better person, becoming a humility and tolerance. Work on that, and then
Bhakti Greg says, how do you know when you're ready to find a guru who's going to even instruct you?
How do you know when you're going to be ready to find a guru?
How do you know when you're ready to seek out a guru? So people who just listen to the show and they're getting some direction, and we're speaking of gurus, and the guru gives information. How do you know when you're ready?
Well, guru means that through which the spiritual knowledge is coming through, right? So what we're doing by reading Bhagavatam together, we're connecting with Guru. We're approaching Guru, right? And we're approaching Guru through Bhagavatam. We're approaching Guru through Prabhupada and his explanations of it. And through that practice that's described there, through reading daily, through chanting, the gradually or not so gradually, the inspiration will come. And we may find that there's a person that lives this life very well, that has a very deep and clear understanding of it, that is able to convey that in such a way that it clarifies us, it helps us overcome all our doubts, it gives us great enthusiasm to practice with more dedication and intensity. That person their example may also have that same effect on us.
Sure.
So then that will come out of one's natural enthusiasm to practice and to associate with bhakti yogis.
You know what I'm feeling, Kaustubha, is what you're doing right now is preparing us to choose. It's, they say, and someone just wrote, when you're ready, the guru will come and stuff like that. I get that, but be careful with that, because we're thinking, well, this might be the guru, or that the first person that walks by is the guru. Be careful with that also. We're not just here on this new age mystical path. There's very practical things we have to figure out before we accept a teacher. And that's what, by studying the Bhagavatam, everything that we're doing, we're developing the discernment. Just like if we're going to develop discernment, if Mara says, "Hey Raghu, go to the store, get me some avocados and persimmons." So if I get an avocado, has a little firmness to it. If I get a persimmon, it's got to be very, very soft. If you don't get it soft, it tastes horrible. So you need discernment before you can pick an avocado. You can't just pick an avocado, right? What to speak of a spiritual teacher. So everything Kaustubha is teaching me, and everything we're reading through the Bhagavatam, we're developing that fine-tuned discernment of what even a guru is. Sometimes people say, "Oh, I met this guy or lady, and she had beautiful flowing robes, and she seemed very spiritual, and they must be my guru because I'm ready for a guru. They must be my guru." You got to throw that out. It's too romantic. We got to boil this down to something actually tangible, or we're setting ourselves up to be misled or cheated. And I don't want to just give my life to a person because they're charming. That's called a cult. We want to find what is an actual, tangible, real, genuine, bona fide spiritual teacher. And are they teaching their interesting philosophy on life, or are they teaching ancient teachings of the Vedas? And, they're tweaked. The externals are tweaked to make them very relevant to us, but the essential teachings, they're still there. So you're doing it, man.
Okay, man.
You're doing it, man.
No, I like it. It is so important. In other words, understand what a guru is first. Study Bhagavad Gita, study Bhagavatam, study Chaitanya Charitamrita, right? Spend the time, and then associate with bhakti yogis, and certain teachers may arise and inspire you in ways that where you feel within, I want to give myself completely, and that may be someone that can play that role of guru.
David Stalling says, when you're ready, the persimmon picks you.
There is an element of that. It's true.
What do you think about that? What do you think about the guru when you're ready? What do you
so
think
what
about
does it mean to be ready?
ready?
That's the point. What does it mean to be ready?
Because you can feel like, well, I was ready.
It means trinadapi sanichena, it means learning through reading these books and becoming educated in it and becoming determined to practice it, practicing humility, practicing tolerance.
Let me ask you, Kaustubha, another important question, because there's people who actually get initiated by gurus.
Yeah.
And then they feel like, you know what? I'm not so connected with. After a few years, you'd feel like I'm not actually that connected with this person. Or maybe that person spoke to me at one chapter of my life, but that person doesn't speak to me at a different chapter of my life. Can you share something about that?
Well,
have you seen that before? Sure.
I mean, there's different ways that one can, even what you just said, there's a whole gradation of ways that might be understood. It may be like maybe you should have been more careful before you made this commitment, but it also may be that that teacher, what's happening in the guru and disciple relationship is that there's a commitment being made both ways. That the guru's taking a responsibility, and the guru's saying, your deliverance to complete Krishna consciousness, to complete, bhakti yoga, to complete liberation from material consciousness, I'm taking that on as a responsibility to guide you through that process. I'm making this commitment. And the disciple is making the commitment to follow. The disciple is making a commitment to bettering themselves, and to becoming a greater servant. And so both are committing to one another. Now the goal is that the disciple be delivered to that consciousness, attain that goal. And however that takes, in other words, at a particular point, this one individual and their instructions may be inspiring that disciple to a great degree. But 3 years may pass and there may be other people that are particularly inspiring that disciple. Now, as long as those other people are teaching the same thing, then there's no contradiction. And the guru will likely very happily say, yes, If that person is inspiring you, then hear from them, learn from them, follow them, be inspired by them. This is good. It's just making my job easier. I'm committed to this. And if this person is
right, the guru is not attached to collecting a club of people as followers. And if they are, I'd be very skeptical about who this guru is. The guru wants to see you're happy and you're evolving.
Yeah. But at the same time, we might also be like, you know what? I'm kind of like, it would be a lot easier if I could just follow this person, right. They what is our motive in actually, like hearing from another and following from another? And the guru may say, no. What they're teaching is not our lineage and our path. And it's actually going to divert you from that. So these are sensitive questions, and it's something that you want to familiarize yourself with. And these books are really good for that. Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Right.
If you
It's
read
exactly
these books,
what we're doing.
Yeah. Then it you get a clearer picture. And if all you know is what you're getting through, and I want to say this without being, too critical. But what I see coming through most of the Western yoga world, the understanding of it is not very thorough. It takes some serious study into it to really understand what that's all about. And therefore we see tons of disappointment, tons of problems with it, tons of, and what, we've discussed this a little bit in the past, but, I see someone as my guru. I don't really know what that means. I don't really know what the qualification of a guru is. I don't know what the qualification of a disciple is. I don't really know what the goal of this whole thing. The whole thing is all completely vague and cloudy, but on some kind of sentimental level, I feel some comfort or some need to have a guru figure. And then we see that guru figure has no idea what being a guru means. Now they're in a very dangerous position where they're getting a type of adoration from a group of people, and now they're just headed for a crash, Or
sometimes people on the show, we become yoga teachers, we become respected, we develop a following of people because of our yoga practice, and then we get looked at as gurus. And we have to, if we're looked at as gurus, but we don't have a guru, then there's a bigger problem, because then you're like, you might be a life raft, so to speak, but you're not connected to land. And you're just floating around on the ocean. You got a bunch of people reaching up to you, and eventually you're all going down.
You get in some heavy waves, and
yeah. So it's important a lot of you, I'm seeing faces out there. A lot of you guys are leaders in the yoga community. It's important to stay connected to lineages, to teachers that you feel are, not that you feel. Because feelings are one thing. I feel this, but you have to find out, who is this teacher I'm connected with? What is their lineage? How are they following their teachers? What are their teachers like? And this is like the process. Truthfully, I think that Wisdom of the Sages can really unpack for people, is that discernment of what are we trying to learn anyway? Where's that learning coming from? And are they teaching the Vedic revelation, or are they just teaching their cool, interesting take on life and creating a cult of personality? So I think it's going to change as we get more into this. And it's a very common thing that we're talking about now.
It's super common. And, I always think of this, I don't even remember where I was, but Raghunath Swami was speaking. And he made this point that when the position of guru, it's, a real guru is not thinking, I'm the guru, I'm this big person with lots of followers. They're thinking, I'm this menial servant. I have this job to just like a postman takes a message and delivers it. We don't think, oh my God, the postman is such a,
right.
great. The postman is just like, I've got a job to do. It's a menial job, and my job is to deliver this message without changing it in any way. And when what they're delivering is so special and important, and their ability to deliver it is so rare and special, that the disciple will have reverence for the guru. And if that guru begins to feel like, I'm this special person, I'm this great teacher. I'm this important figure. And they begin to try to enjoy that reverence that's shown to them, that respect that's shown. If they see that like, oh, here's my enjoyment, I'm this special, they start to try to relish that. He said, that is like poison.
Mm.
And he said, the guru doesn't try to enjoy that. What they do is they say, this reverence and respect that's being shown to me, it's not for me. I hand that to my guru. I pass it up the line, right? And that guru passes it to their guru. Any reverence that you're showing to me, I don't deserve. It really belongs to my guru. I pass it up to them. Now, when I see people in the yoga world that they begin to have followers that call them guru, and and I know that this person doesn't have any knowledge of this, any background in this, I begin to say, this is just it's just a recipe for...
It's a recipe for disaster. Huh?
It's a recipe for disaster. And I actually feel sorry for that person, really, because I just know they're about to go through hell, right? They're about to go through hell.
At least there's a potential, a lot of hell. There's a potential for a lot of hell. And we've seen it within our short lifetime.
Yeah. I mean, sooner or later down the road, unless that true understanding is somehow...
Because even if a guru, a bona fide guru on a lineage falls down, you're mentally prepare for that. Like you're trained in what that actually means. And if you're not, that's a problem also. This is why the Bhagavatam is so important. This is why what we're doing in our spiritual practice is so important to understand this Sanatan Dharma. You have to understand that these people are sent. They're here to lift me up. And if they went away, my real connection is with God anyway. It's not to this man or woman. They're helping me on this path. But ultimately, unless they're actually completely pure, they can also get swept away by Maya. And therefore, I shouldn't get swept away, or I shouldn't be completely bitter towards this person. This person had no good qualities. They were out to cheat me the entire time. That's wrong too. That's another trick of Maya, that everybody's wrong. We want to catastrophize things where they were never sincere. No, not true. They just fell away. But now what am I going to do? Am I going to follow this person who went astray or went south? Or am I going to stay focused on my connection to God? The person should be lifting me towards God, not lifting me towards them per se. Does that make sense? Am I philosophically right on with this, Kaustubha?
You are. It's that we want, by studying the sacred texts, we can understand who represents them, right? And when we see that, we may see a person that's representing them for some time, and later they fall away from it themselves and are no longer representing it. Now, then there becomes a big question: which way does the disciple go? If that attachment was based on charisma or personality, they may go the way of the person who's no longer following the teachings. And I've seen that followers can believe almost anything.
Anything.
They can almost rationalize or justify almost anything. A person may be completely demonstrate how entirely incapable they are to represent this to points of absurdity. And followers are capable of rationalizing it and sticking with it.
We can't give away our common sense and our intelligence and discernment in the name of spirituality. And that's not what's asked of us.
Right. Yeah.
Kaustubha, we're running out of time, and I want to mention, not only do we have a great guest last week, but this week coming up, we have a very, 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 very wonderful guest. And he's one of these people that just inspires me whenever I meet him. His name is Satchidananda Swami, and he is from Germany, but he's travels around the world. He got into Bhakti at a very young age. He has many students, especially throughout Europe, because that's where he's based out of. But he is one person, when I get around him, I just feel like I'm leaving this plane of existence. I love this man. And he's a wealth of knowledge. He's the embodiment of joy. Were you at Super Soul when he came with Raghunath Swami one day and they just showed up?
Somehow I wasn't able to be there that day. I remember it. And for some reason, I really wanted to be there and I couldn't.
Oh my God. And when I was in Berlin we did that reunion in Berlin. He came to the show in Berlin and was on stage singing with us. He's just like a bundle of spiritual joy. And he's our honored guest this weekend.
You know what else he is,
on
Raghu?
Sunday. What else is he?
He's like a true contemplative. He's a person that is truly working on the inner life.
Yeah.
And he's written fantastic books on that. He's full of fantastic teachings of that. I think it's rare that we meet a person that is going very, very deep like that on the internal life, and he can inspire us to also try to go deeper into that inner life of bhakti. So I really look forward to having him on the show this weekend.
You too, brother. Thank you.
All right.
Brother and sister. Brothers and sisters, thank you, everybody. Happy Monday. Wisdom of the Sages is a listener-supported podcast. If you'd like to support our service and go deeper in the teachings and practices of Bhakti Yoga, you can join our Patreon page, patreon.com/wisdom of the sages, where we host more classes and readings. By subscribing on Patreon and joining the Patreon party, you can also get access to our Discord community discussion forum, where we get to know each other and share all kinds of relevant content. Come hang out with us there. Thanks for those who do support us. It really means a lot to us. Let's fill our head with information that's going to help us upgrade our life instead of degrade our life. Been there, done that. It's over. That's over. Especially this week, it's over.
Starting this Monday.
Starting now. Whatever happened yesterday is over. Let the dead past bury its dead. And for now, we will come together. We'll take a namaste. And we'll namaste our hands together. And clap. And sing. This is our lip-syncing time of the show, where I pretend to be a great kirtan singer. And I pretend to play the tablas. And I pretend to play the harmonium better than I actually play it.